Okay, welcome into episode 16 of Reimer on the Road. That is Ann. I am Scott. And of course, Leo decided he was going to jump in for this particular edition as we review Indiana Dunes National Park in Michigan City, Indiana. And we look forward to sharing that with you here in this episode. But we always want to give you our next stop because we continue to get some great suggestions on the various social media platforms that we use of where we're going next. So, Ann, where are we headed next?
All right, this time we have a long drive to get up to Voyageurs National Park in Minnesota.
Yep, we're in currently videoing this in Mackinac City. Mm-hmm. We're above the 45th parallel. We're way up here in Michigan, but we're going to be going even further north when we go in to Minnesota and Voyageurs National Park. So again, it's another park that neither of us has been to. It's a very remote park, it looks like. We got to get our grocery shopping done before we head up there.
Definitely. And a new state.
Yes,
again,
that's right.
Another new state for us.
So you can provide feedback by commenting here on YouTube. You can go to reimerontheroad@gmail.com and
on Instagram, Reimer on the Road.
Yep, and we look forward to getting your feedback on Voyageurs National Park. But for now, it is episode 16 of Reimer on the Road and Indiana Dunes National Park. This one, as we're going to put another sticker on, was an expensive one.
It was an expensive one.
The tolls, holy smokes.
Yeah, Indiana got us.
Got us big.
We needed to look further into those tolls. 80, was it 80 or 90? Was nice, but a ton of construction going on, and then to have to pay that much out of it, it was like $54.
Yep.
To go not even the full way, almost full way across Indiana up here.
Yeah.
But good Lord, that was really expensive.
I don't disagree.
I don't know if that was worth it.
All right, so this is an expensive sticker here. But we've added another one to the board. The travel board. Again, we've been to other states, but we're only marking these on our trip. There you go. And there's going to be a few more states here in the next week or so that we're going to put on the stickers. Hopefully it won't be quite as expensive as those others.
It's wet, hearts expand, graffiti souls taking stands. And if the night tries to steal our shine, we'll be the stars in our own skyline. We'll be the stars in our own skyline.
All right, we just finished the West Beach Trail Loop.
Yep.
In Indiana Dunes National Park. What were your thoughts?
Very unique, I think. I've never been, I haven't been on the lake that has dunes by it. I mean, you think of the lake dunes, you think of beach and an ocean, but they're very high. It's a tough walk to it, to be honest with you. Now, you could walk straight out to the beach, and that would be okay. But if you want to get up on top of the dunes, you've got to walk through sand and then a lot of steps. And so it's a little warm today. And then you add that it was only a mile, but it felt longer than that, I think, just because. But the view up top was great. And it's just a shame that, it's a nice little piece of heaven around a bunch of industry, and all the steel mills up here. You can see Gary, Indiana right down the way, and these other towns up here. But they were able to kind of protect this one little place from becoming all of that. And so it's kind of a shame more of the lakefront doesn't look as beautiful as Indiana Dunes does. But yeah, it's very pretty. Indiana Dunes National Park. See where they get the name. Chicago's way off in the distance there. That's Gary, Indiana. But you can see probably with the camera, you can't probably see Chicago, but it's out there, way out there. And of course that's Lake Michigan. Put those toes in the water. Let's see what we got. Woo! Yeah. Chile. All right, well, we just got back from a day trip into South Bend, Indiana, home of Notre Dame, the University of Notre Dame. And I have been there to South Bend for a game. Obviously, there wasn't a game when we were there today, but your initial thoughts, let's start with just the campus itself. Your thoughts on Notre Dame?
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful campus. Very walkable, everything's kind of compact, at least the main part of the campus. It may go further out. A lot of the buildings very similar in architecture and building material, so it's very cohesive, very pretty. Obviously, you got the Golden Dome, you got the stadium, the football stadium. That's all that you see on TV, so you always got to go see that. The cathedral, I think.
Basilica.
Basilica,
yep.
Okay. The grotto, beautiful grounds. I mean, they had flowers, very green grass. It was definitely worth the trip.
Yeah, the architecture is really cool. I like that. That was one of the first impressions I had of it when we went. I really liked the Basilica. I felt like we were in like Italy in a Duomo. The church is just so pretty. It looks like it's straight out of Europe and that European theme, and that you just don't see that in the United States very much.
You don't, and you're right with that. It definitely looked like a European church, for sure. Yeah.
We didn't get to go inside the stadium. Obviously, there's a couple statues around it. The stadium from the outside is, not exactly, it doesn't really stand out. I mean, it's enclosed. You can't see a whole lot. So,
but pretty. I mean, there again, that whole, it had the stone on it, the brickwork on it was beautiful. There was one, I don't know which end zone it is, but you could see through to the field.
Yep.
So you got to see a glimpse of it. You're probably more of a football fan than I am, but I still appreciate seeing other college stadiums. It is kind of nice when you see, especially one as famous as Notre Dame.
I totally agree. Not to mention Touchdown Jesus as well.
That's right.
Cool.
We did
get.
Right. I forgot about that one.
Yep.
And it's just all impressive. Now I can imagine going game day, totally different vibe, and I'm sure I know they got to tailgate great, so maybe I still have that on my bucket list to go see a game there in the stadium.
Now I also know, just because I could hear your sighs of pleasure at lunch. You enjoyed your lunch in South Bend. The Lauber, I don't know if we're pronouncing that right.
Right, the Lauber, and we had found it there again. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. We found it on Bring Fido to help us find a dog-friendly restaurant, and it did not disappoint. It had a great patio. So Leo, they offered to bring out water. We had some water for him. Food was excellent. Service was good. They had good drink specials. Something that I've kind of noticed up here, and maybe it's just in South Carolina, maybe there's more, it's probably the liquor license they have to get, but the drink prices up here haven't been as bad for the liquor drinks. Usually there's a big discrepancy between the beers and the liquor drinks down south. Here, I mean, $10, $11 for a good full pour of drinks and very creative craft cocktails. I enjoyed mine.
All right, good day, South Bend, Indiana, and Notre Dame. It was fun to see, and we'll continue to watch them on TV, and we'll say, hey, we've been there.
We've been there.
That's right.
That's right.
All right. Okay, on the Ohio Turnpike, we ran over some painting. They were painting white strips. We didn't have a whole lot of room to navigate with the rig behind us, so we ended up getting some white paint on the tires, which it'll come off the tires easily. I think it's going to come off of these guards too. I'm not positive, and it's actually some on the back of alley as well. So we got to do a little work to get that cleaned off at some point. But a little frustrating there, but that's the way it goes. Let's see if we can get some of it off at the car wash. Okay, so of course I was not lucky enough to have the shower, or the bath, if you will, taking it to a car wash to get the paint off. So it's going to take a little elbow grease at this point. Ann got on TikTok or something and found a potential remedy, and I have to say that this remedy is working good. So what Ann found was you get a little WD-40 and you spray it on the affected area of the truck. I'm focusing right now on the parts of the actual truck, and not the underbelly. You can see some of it got in the underbelly as well. I'm not as concerned about that. And you spray the WD-40 on it, and you let it sit for about 5 minutes. I've been letting it sit for 5 minutes, and then I've got this little clip. We use it. I don't know. It's a old Pampered Chef plastic thing that has a very fine edge, and when you get that edge on here and you start doing a little elbow grease, you can see it starts to come off. I got a little rag here and I'll wipe it down, and it's working. It's just going to take some elbow grease and a little bit of time, but we'll get it off the paint, and then I'll determine if I'm going to continue and do it on the mud flaps and all that. I mean, it looks so tacky, so I'll probably do it, but I'm going to start with the paint first because that's obviously the most important part of this process. So moral of the story is stay away from people who are painting lines on the interstate at all costs.
I can't do nothing with you.
All right, we are chasing sunsets in Indiana Dunes National Park at Lakeview Beach.
Yes.
Right? Lakeview. Yep, within the park. And I'll give you a pan out here of that in just a moment. But very nice. And we get to watch it set, the sun that is, over Lake Michigan. Very pretty. So we've been hearing about this on the news just about every morning about the Canadian fires that are causing air issues in our area. And to be honest with you, we haven't noticed it at all. I mean, it's been a little hazy, but it's kind of like summer haze. We didn't really think much about it. So this is the first because we just watched a sunset. And it was a sunset. It was very pretty. But it wasn't on the horizon. It was on the altitude of where the smoke is hovering from the Canadian wildfires. So it was a first, I guess, if you want to call it that. But so I can now definitely see what they're talking about as I look at the horizon of where that smoke from the Canadian fires is at. So I guess we should have paid more attention. The good news is, because we're on Central Time.
That's right.
And we haven't quite adjusted yet. We're getting close. It actually set over the smoke about 30 minutes earlier than it was supposed to. So we'll get home 30 minutes earlier.
Right. And since we're Central Time, sunsets earlier.
Yep.
Just like 20, 30 minutes down the road, we're an hour early.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
Yep.
For us.
That's right, because very weird, the time zone change and where that does in Indiana.
Yeah.
That's another whole story. But yeah, so bonus, we saw the sunset, not on the horizon, but on the haze of the fires, but we get home earlier. I'll never complain about that. Okay, there you go. Episode 16 in the books, Indiana Dunes National Park. I guess the first impressions that you had when we went into the park, it's a small park, much like Cuyahoga was.
Right.
It doesn't have a big footprint. But your thoughts on Indiana Dunes National Park?
I mean, it's not the most impressive one we've been to yet. But I mean, it had a beautiful lakeshore on Lake Michigan. It did have the dunes, of course, that it's known for. It had some, I don't know if you call them swampy areas, after, but I think the part that I didn't like as much about it is, and of course it's a newer park as well. I think it used to be a national lakeshore, and it's only been more recently that it's become a national park.
That's right.
But you're on this beautiful beach, and then you turn, and there's, I don't know, a steel plant right next to you. It's very industrial. So I appreciate that they've tried to save and preserve the lakeshore and some of the surrounding land, but it's just in the middle. It's one of those also. It's kind of, you go in between private land and national park land, and then there's even a state park in the middle of it that we did not go to. So with the going in and out of the state park, the industrial areas around it, it didn't wow me. It's kind of one of those, again, if you're in the area, is it worth knocking off your little to-do list? The national park, yes. And of course, did we hit everything we could have? No. But I think we had a good overview, and I'm glad we've gone to it, but I don't necessarily need to go back.
Yeah, I think two things about that, and I agree in essence with what you said. I will say the sunset was really pretty. We lost a little bit of it, as you saw, due to the fires in Canada, but the Lake Michigan shore in that area is a great place to watch the sunset, and where we were at was awesome. That was really a highlight, I think, of the trip for us. And also, we're a little jaded because we're ahead of this video. You haven't seen yet what we saw when we went to Traverse City and outside of Traverse City in a little bit further north of Michigan. That will be in episode 17. I think the context of what we saw at Indiana Dunes and those dunes, and when you see the video from one of the stops we made along the way west of Traverse City, I think you'll understand why we now kind of have a...
We weren't as wowed by it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that'll make more sense in episode 17. A couple of other little things about this that I would encourage people to research more than we did. And of course, we were pulling an RV. You saw this earlier in the video. We really got hit hard with the tolls.
Yeah.
And that is a lesson learned.
Yeah.
It ended up being going from Cuyahoga to Indiana Dunes was an $80 bill, a little over $80.
Yeah.
When you took the Ohio tolls plus the Indiana tolls.
Yeah.
That's too expensive to travel. That's not smart traveling there.
Right. And I think we were expecting it to be some of the tolls like we've done before that haven't been crazy. Now, I have to admit, we haven't gotten all those tolls in the mail yet.
Yes, that's true.
Maybe we're going to get shocked when we get those, but it was a lot more. We were shocked when we got that bill getting off the Indiana toll, and it was $56. And I was just like, that can't be right. They must think we're a semi or something. But no, when we looked it up, it was right. Yeah.
We did go into Illinois for two reasons. Number one, we wanted to get another state sticker. It wasn't that far away, although traffic was just a really big beast getting into Illinois. But we had a purpose to go into Illinois. We didn't want to go all the way into Chicago, although it would not be difficult for you to go from the Indiana Dunes area, Michigan City, into Chicago, either by car or by train.
By train would probably be the way I would recommend going.
We had both been to Chicago before. We love the city. It's really a great city, and I encourage you to go. But it just wasn't, to us, it wasn't worth going back to see something we'd already seen. But it is doable. But we did go into Illinois because you wanted a special kind of sandwich.
I wanted my Italian beef sandwich, which is what I discovered when we went to Chicago prior, and it was so good. And so we found a Bueno restaurant, and they have, it's like a local chain up in that area, and so that satisfied my craving for the Italian beef.
All right, we also always give you a little feedback on where we stay in case you're camping, and we were at Michigan City Campground. Again, another really good location to get to everything we wanted to get to, but I thought this campground, and most specifically the campsite we had, was just awesome. I mean, it had a pad, it had a private area. There's nobody near us. We had some dunes near us that just kind of shielded us from everything. This probably was the nicest campsite we've had on the stay so far.
It was a good site. It was inside, had lots of room, like you mentioned, on the pad, little patio pad. A lot of grass. The grass was, dog park just right out in front of us, so that was convenient with Leo.
Okay, so that will wrap up episode 16, Indiana Dunes National Park. We're glad we were able to do it, and you've gotten our feedback on that, and we always give the disclaimer that that's just our own personal opinions. Everybody's different in what they like and what they try to do, so don't just take our word for it. Go out and see it yourself and get your own opinions about it. Reimer on the Road on Instagram. If you go to Instagram, I think you will get an idea, Reimer on the Road on Instagram, of why we now have a little bit different view of Indiana Dunes, because you have posted some photos of that. I'll leave it there. You got to go to Instagram to view them. But then tell me if I'm right after seeing some of those posts. But we look forward to sharing our time here where we are now, which is in Mackinac City, Michigan. Huge summary of that coming up in episode 17 in about a week, a little less than a week, as a matter of fact. So until then, it's Ann and Leo hanging out with us in this particular episode. I'm Scott, and don't forget, it's Reimer on the Road. Do it today.